Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Good morning.
People will probably continue to filter in, but we're going to get started because we have a full program today. And good morning to you. Welcome to Unity of Bremerton. We've got some wonderful guests today, both for music and for the spoken word portion, the lesson. So our guest is Rona Yellow Robe and her musical partner, Bruce Witham, and we're glad to have them. They've been with us before, and we're glad to have them back. But first, we just want to welcome you and say welcome and joining us today. It's a lovely day outside, and we get to enjoy the sunshine in our hearts as well. Is there anybody with us for the very first time today? No? We're all returnees? Good. Well, that's wonderful. All right, we can enjoy sitting together and sharing the wonderful, peaceful feelings. So the first song we have today is the Sunday's Child with Rona and Bruce.
I just want to read the poem. Oh, because Monday's child is fair face, Tuesday's child is full of grace, Wednesday's child is full of woe, Thursday's child has far to go. Friday's child is loving and giving, Saturday's child works hard for a living, but the child who is born on the Sabbath day is bony and blithe and good and gay.
Oh, nice.
Both Bruce and I, though born 10 years apart, we're both born on a Sunday. So this is kind of our healing song. This is called Sunday's Child.
Oh, lovely. Wonderful. All right. Well, most of you already know this, but we'll say it for maybe the people who are watching and listening online. We have what we call the Red Heart Welcome. And so most of us have this either in our pocket or at home in a special place. But what it's all about is we welcome people to unity in the spirit of love. We want you to know that no matter where you are on your journey of faith, you're always welcomed here. We know that the world is a better place when we are willing to share our hearts. We give you this heart as a symbol of the steadfast spirit that lives within each one of us, and we ask you to carry this symbol as a member of the Red Heart Fellowship. Let it be a reminder of the love of God as always with you, and to share your heart wherever you go. The red heart, as a symbol of fellowship in the world, can spread love one heart at a time. Let's start the movement here. Well, in terms of unity happenings, most of them are in your bulletin, so I'll urge you to take a look at that. But just skimming lightly over some of them, coming up, there's George Lindemood on May the 13th. Oh, incidentally, I don't see it listed here, but on Thursday evenings we have a Course in Miracles study group, and you're always welcome to join us if you're interested. It's 7 p.m. right here at the church. Okay, there's a Peninsula Photo Club monthly meeting on May the 16th, and a Family Fun Night is coming up on May the 25th, and again, the information is in your bulletin. But I'm sure that our weekly board member of the week has some information for us, and that is Cindy Swink.
All right. Good morning.
Good morning.
Sunshine again. We're on a roll. And I got my gardening done last week, and I'm so happy. Okay, let's see. We've got the men's group meeting next Saturday at 9 a.m. So men of all ages are welcome. Breakfast is provided, so please sign up at the table in the fellowship area or on the event listing on Facebook, or email us at office@unitybremerton.org so we can make sure we have breakfast ready for you. Unity of North Kitsap has a weekly meditation on Thursday, May 10th, Spirit Guides. Join Anna Welsh for a meditation on the presence of our spirit guides. Through guided meditation, we will enjoy a personal encounter. We may even take back with us a bit of insight that we didn't have before. The meditations are held in the fellowship hall at the Episcopal Church in Polsbo. Well, let's see. We want to remind you that we are live streaming, so please keep conversations down because it does pick up just about everything. Let's see. We've got prayer request forms in the back of the seat, so if you would like to submit one of those, you can put it in the offertory bag as it comes around, or in the prayer box up here, and our chaplains will pray on that. And then we also send it to Silent Unity for additional support for whatever you need. And we have a chaplain today. That's Miss Marilyn, and she will be available to pray with you or affirm anything that you might have going on that you need assistance with. We've got the fellowship area with sign-up sheets for all of our various activities, and I know that somebody just signed up for that e-blast newsletter, so we'll get that rolling for you. And for those of you online, if you want the e-blast newsletter, email the office at office@unitybremerton.org, or sign up online and we'll get you set up there. And we got a bunch of other activities, so always check that table. You never know what we might be up to. And the board will continue to keep you updated, so enjoy the sunshine, and Rona and Bruce here shortly. Thank you very much.
And I did want to mention a couple of people that weren't already mentioned. So our ushers today are going to be Cindy and Nora, and we're thankful for that. As was said, Marilyn is our chaplain of the day, Marilyn Carlson. And our youth ed champion is Joyce. Hospitality hosts are Mary Ellen and Ann and Laura. And next to Spick and Span Angels, it says all of us. So at fellowship time, we'll be having a little something to eat and drink. If you could help clear away crumbs and such, that would be much appreciated. And our technology director is Mark Swink. He's sitting at the rear, but he panels that you see on the screens and the microphones and what goes out over the internet for our live streaming, and so we're grateful for his assistance. Thank you very much, Mark Swink. Okay, time to light the Christ candle. This represents the light of Christ within each one of us. So, on the screen, we have our mission statement. Can we say this together? We are a welcoming community supporting our mutual quest for spiritual truth. And this is our invocation together. There is one presence and one power active in the universe and in my life. God, good, omnipotence. Wonderful. Thanks so much. Okay, we're going to have a brief time of greeting each other. We call it handshakes and hugs. Please be brief in your sharing because we will have a fellowship time later to have longer chats with each other, okay? And if you hug gently. If you don't want to be hugged, shove out your hand real quick and we'll shake your hand. Okay, let's welcome each other.
Good, and you?
That's good. It just keeps going over and over and over. Thank you. So you finally showed up, huh? I finally showed up, yeah. Good to see you. This today's Cornell. I don't think I can make it. They're doing a pop-up. I thought about it. I thought it would be a nice small single instrument to learn to play. Oh, yeah, I used to play the right before, the little before the storm, is that what it is? I think so, because as soon as the flashes go, I'll be there too.
So we're going to do a song that probably many of you already know, and it's called Get Together by the Youngbloods. We actually paid for the rights to be able to put it on our next album called Sunday's Child, but we want to do it for you here today. And you can participate with us because you know the part that goes, come on people now, smile on your brother, everybody get together, try to love one another right now. So just sing that with us when it comes to that part, right?
Love is but a song we sing, and fear's the way we die. You can make the mountains ring, or make the angels cry. Though the bird is on the wing, and you may not know why.
All right, here it is.
Come on. left us here returns for us at last. We are budding moments sunlight fading in the grass.
Here goes.
Come on, people now, smile on your brother, everybody get together, try to love one another right now.
Yeah.
Hey, come on, people now, smile on your brother, everybody get together, try to love one another right now. Come on, people now, smile on your brother, everybody get together, try to love one another right now.
All right.
If you hear the song I sing, you will understand. You hold the key to love and fear, all in your trembling hand. Just one key unlocks them both. It's there at your command. Come on, people now, smile on your brother, everybody get together, try to love one another right now.
All right. Yeah.
Hey, come on, people now, smile on your brother, everybody get together, try to love one another right now. I said, come on, people now, smile on your brother, everybody get together, try to love one another right now. Right now, right now.
Yeah.
It's just beautiful the way the universe works out. There are no coincidences. Today's daily word is helping others, and you'll see how this all ties in with our theme. I am grateful today for every opportunity to be of service to others. Again and again in his earthly ministry, Jesus called us to have faith, the faith of a child. Faith as small as a mustard seed. We may assume that it's only with enough faith we can do the work that is ours to do. Today, I recognize that quite the opposite is true. By reaching out, extending love, helping others in their human experiences, my faith grows. Belief becomes easy when I can clearly see the spiritual power of that my reactions, my actions create. My choice then is not a blind faith, but a perceptive faith. I recognize the good I can create in the world, and I strengthen my faith through the actions I choose. From Luke 6, verse 38, give, and it will be given to you, a good measure, pressed down, shaken together, running over, will be put into your lap. For the measure you give will be the measure you get back. I am grateful today for every opportunity to be of service to others. God blesses us.
Yeah, I know. And they're back to back to back. I wanted to, I'm changing things up a little bit. It's, we were gonna do, you can't stand in the same river twice. But because of the talk I'm gonna be doing, I wanted to do a song called What Man is Meant for Evil, God is Meant for Good. And so the, just the fact that, the people of the tribe that I walk with are people that help me to take and turn illusions to and understand what the difference between illusion and reality is. And so it kind of fits into the theme of my talk as far as needing people and having like my spirit mom as my guide and how she works in my life and how laying some stuff out to her and how she's been able to help me to see it for what it is. So this is what man is meant for evil, God is meant for good.
Put upon this table the hard times of my past, the ones that come to haunt me and always seem to last. They interrupt my goodness, turn sunshine into gloom, take away my happiness and leave behind the doom, and leave behind the doom. I set them on the table for you and I to see. What is the illusion and what's reality? You help me understand something I never thought I could. Man is meant for evil, God has meant for good. God is meant for good. Spirit of our healing has helped me see the light. There's no more need to run from this. There's no more need to fight. I open up my clenched up fist, extend my hand to you, and let you know the work I've done will help to see you through, will help to see you through. I set them on the table for you and I to see. What is the illusion and what's reality? I'll share with you a special gift I never thought I'd
very much. Wow, what an honor. What an honor to get to do this. It is so true. It's like, I never thought I would, especially when you're going through a challenge in your life. It's like the last thing you want to do is be sharing, how you might have showed up in the beginning of that challenge, right? And, I first want to say thank you so much for having Bruce and I here. It's such an honor to come and play. We both enjoy this Bremerton Unity very much, and the people and the love and reception that we received last time we came in today. And I want to say thank you, and also that I'm so grateful that I can be fully present here today with you and connected to each and every one of you. I want to call forth the Spirit of God through me and just to come and to speak through my words as I share with you. I'm not typically used to using this. I just kind of tell my story, and life has been calling me to show up in a different way and to doing a specific thing like a talk on compassion. When I tell my story, if compassion fits in there somewhere, that's really great. But I really wanted to since you kind of know my story from last time, I wanted to kind of give you an idea on something that another experience I went through and working through my life to be able to stand here and share with you today that at the time I was going through it, it was the last thing I was thinking about. I'm going to go ahead and start out with, I was listening to a Celine Dion song, and she had, one of the parts of her lyrics had said that, she said, can beauty rise from ashes, out of ashes? And as I share my story about compassion, I want to just kind of read this book that I have. It's One Day My Soul Just Opened Up by Jan Van Zandt. I know I'm hanging out with people who know how to speak this language, so it's really great. But I love this part, what she writes. He says, only when you have a healthy, honorable, affirming relationship with yourself can you have the same with others. This relationship is the foundation of your ability to demonstrate and practice compassion. Only when you have truly mastered yourself and are able to stand in your sense of personal power can you be compassionate. If this is not the truth of your being, your attempts to be compassionate will mean being too nice, and you will become a doormat. You will believe that you are being used. You will feel put upon and eventually become resentful of all that you have done or are doing for others. It is only from a sense of true and authentic personal power that you can give, support, share, and assist without feeling that you are losing anything. When you are a powerful master of yourself, you know that what you give is of the universal divine energy flowing through you. It is not yours, it belongs to life. And when a powerful person gives life, she or he knows they cannot be depleted. Instead, they know that they are being strengthened. You must be strong in order to be compassionate. And I just love that, I didn't know whether or not I was going to be using any kind of different, reads or anything like that to come and tell my story, but I thought that really touched base on where I wanted to go. I've learned on my journey in this earth path that, that I'm designed, that we are designed to be interdependent with one another. And that some of the challenges that I've been through and have grown and risen out of and have learned from and become strong for is because I've walked with other people. We have in our tribe, we have medicine women and men, right? And they can sometimes be our vertical guides. And then other places like in the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous, we have sponsors, and they are verticals, and they are the ones that we look to become stronger and to live a better life in the life of recovery, right? And in places of our ministry where we do churches, or you have a priest, or a spiritual guide within the realm of your community here, is that person to me, and I call her my spirit mom, right? And she is somebody who has helped me through so many from the aspects of my life that I didn't even know that I had struggles with, And one of the stories that we have in one of my tribes that I walk with, and I'm going to use it because you can fill in the blank, because some of you may not be in recovery, and other people, so you can fill in the blank how you want to use. I'm going to use sponsor today, right? And so I was told the story by one of my brothers in my tribe. And he used it in first person, so I'm going to use it in first person. And the story says, 33 years, I was in a hole. I was in a place that was really dark, and I thought, I couldn't really see things clearly, right? And eventually I got tired of being in this hole. And I remember looking up and I see this priest go by and I'm, Father, please help me. I'm in this hole and I can't get out. And the priest looks down and he throws me some prayers, but I'm still in the hole. And down the road further, here comes a doctor. And doctor, please help me. I'm in this hole and I can't get out. Please help me. And so he throws me down some prescriptions, Zoloft, Xanax, Razepam. I'm still in the hole. And later on, down the road, my spirit mom, my sponsor, my medicine woman, walks by. And I say, please, sponsor, help me. I'm in this hole. I can't get out. And so she jumps in the hole. And I'm looking at her like, well, now that's crazy. Now we're both in the hole. And she says, yes, but I know how to get out. And I think that in this life and experience that I have in this journey is that I've had people to come to me to help me, to see where I am, and to see what tools that I'm going to need to be able to come and rise out of that hole. And this particular woman, I've had many different guides to help me through that hole, but this particular one has stuck with me through it all, and I call her my spirit mom, and I love her dearly. As a child, I know that, as I talk about compassion, as I begin my journey of compassion, I know as a child that I was a compassionate child. When I look back on that, I wouldn't have been able to articulate that word, but because of the experiences that my brothers and sisters and I were having and dealing with with alcoholism, is that I had the spirit of compassion. And what that looked like within my home is that I was somebody who, when things were getting difficult in our home, that I made up games for us to play, right, so that I could distract them. I was a great storyteller, so I could distract them that way, and I loved to make them laugh, right? And I didn't know that my spirit mom was the one who helped point it out to me, because I was too busy looking at what else could I have done to make that place better. But she helped me to see where I was and the gifts I already had then. On my journey of living, my dad, eventually we ended up moving into a place where, even though there was still chaos going on, but my dad, because of his work and his status in the community, we ended up usually being actually the only Native Americans living in the community of our town, because we had the north side and then we had, how they have those, and my dad moved us in a very beautiful home, and we were the only natives, and maybe one other native family had children that went to the school that we went to. And so I found myself always teased and called lots of names, and always trying to people try to beat me up all the time. And my dad, I had brothers, and so my dad would teach them how to box, and so he taught me how to box too. Right? I was not a bonky on that, and I could take care of myself pretty well for that, for most of the time. Until I got to about fourth, fifth grade, and I remember I was out hanging out with my friends, and and this particular kid, Matt Hansen, and he flipped me on my back. And I had no words to articulate it, but I just knew something had changed, that they were getting stronger, right? And that I'm going to have to get faster, and I did. I ended up breaking records in junior high school because I had to get so fast running from people. But I know, and I said, and this particular day I was getting off the bus, and there was 5 boys that usually really like to give me a hard time. They called me all kinds of names, racial names, and pushing me, and this particular day, for some reason, they caught me right away, so I didn't have a chance to run. They kind of had me surrounded, and I could hear the name calling. And I turned, when somebody had told me, said a name that just was enough to make me angry enough, that I turned around and I saw the person who said it. And the reason why that's significant to me, and I love this because the soul can hold on to a memory that I was not even, this is the first time I'm sharing it in this kind of a forum. But I remember looking at this kid, and this little boy, he had what is called Clove syndrome. And it demonstrates itself in the parts of the body in many different ways, but in his case, it was where his jaw was, it had a growth in his jaw where it kind of moved his mouth a little bit off center, right? And it was pretty, as a child, it was pretty obvious, right? And so and I looked at him, and I was like,
in my mind, not articulating it, but I felt it, right? And I'm articulating this to you now, but at the time I was thinking, if anybody would understand what I am going through, it is you, right? And yet, then all of a sudden, this whoosh of understanding came in, and I realized, he just wants to fit in like I want to fit in. And this is how he's demonstrating that, because he probably deals with those things, the same things too, and yet he wants to hang out with his friends, and this is what he's doing, right? And I understood, right? He's the same age as I was, maybe a year older. And I thought about that, and it just, I turned around and I just walked away. And for some reason, I don't know how it all happened. I remember I got out of the situation, and I just walked away from it. And I really love this part in the book of The Compassion with Ayala Bonsa, and it says, when you can set aside your needs and desires, becoming completely willing to give yourself to fulfill the needs of another, you have discovered your sense of power, and that enables you to be truly compassionate. When you can feel another's pain, sense their fear, and know that they are going through what they are going through without considering them to be a victim or feeling your own sense of victimization, you are ready to demonstrate compassion. And when you understand that what you do for another or give to another will in no way have an adverse effect on you, you have reached the realm of compassion. And I thought, without even knowing all that power just came through me, and I understood something. And I didn't go running home to my mom to say how great of a kid I was. I didn't tell anybody about that experience, It was just something that just naturally came through me. And I love this scripture in Matthew 8:3-4, and where Jesus the Christ said, truly I tell you, unless you change and become like little children, you will never enter the kingdom of heaven. Therefore, whoever takes the lowly position of this child is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven. And oh my gosh, I tell you, the first time as I was doing my meditation on this, I could feel the emotion rise up inside of me. Because not knowing that, and again, not going back and saying, Mom, look what I did, that was something that just came very natural to me. It needed no praise or anything. All I knew in that moment is that I was okay, and I didn't have to do anything. I didn't need to make him wrong to be okay, And as we journey on through life, I recognize that, that compassion can become obscured, as we get older. We may look like we're doing things and we're showing compassion, but I found different times I was doing I remember that when I first came into my early recovery, I was invited to do the Native American sobriety conference in Quileute, and I remember they asked me to be the secretary, and and the person says, you're gonna get so many gifts. When you get there, I said, I hope it's a Pendleton blanket. And I think, in my mind, I couldn't see the physical and the spiritual. I'm thinking, I'm going to go get some gifts, and because I'm going to do this good thing, And, and further on down the road, I realized that when my compassion had become obscured, it had become obscured by worship, pomp, and calamity, right? Worship of other things. And I thought to myself that, as I just, I guess that, life, I want to say that, heaven came and helped me to learn about compassion. I saw that little kid recently. I was in Havre, probably, it was last year, and I saw that little kid grown up. And he's become a very wonderful doctor here in this area. So I just think to myself, wow, I don't even know if he remembers me or not, but I sure do remember him. When I talk about understanding that I had lost sight of what compassion is, I can go out there and I can do different actions, and to you, by your eye, you can see that it looks like I'm being compassionate. But compassionate is a very natural thing. It comes and it has no expectations. It's just something that you just know and do, right? And I have found out that got obscured. I found out that through the things that I had been through in my life, that it had become covered up a bit. And I had gone through an experience with my family where we, because of alcoholism, that I was choosing to make boundaries in my life. And there was a lot of things going on, a lot of suffering going on in my family. This is years ago now. And I made a decision, I'm not gonna come to your house when there's drinking. I'm not gonna do those kind of things with you anymore. If you wanna be a part of my life, then you're gonna come over here, right? And, and I felt very strong in that boundary until, the very first time they had the family reunion and I wasn't invited. Now, it's one thing I say, okay, I'm gonna do this, but don't not invite me to the family reunion, And I remember I was so hurt. I remember just the sadness that I felt and the despair, because these are the people I've known all my life, and and I remember I was crying, and then, I thought, well, maybe I should go make amends, but I had nothing to make amends for, and I was trying to find some way to control, what was happening, but I found myself in a lot of turmoil over the decision of them and over my decision and their decision. And I found myself I'd cry, and then I would get mad, and all of a sudden, the things that I had done for them, there's price tags on them. And I thought, how could they, after I let them come and stay with me, and they did this, and I did, all of the price tags, they started showing up all over the things I had done for them, And, I realized that, one of the things my spirit mom, and also I was reading a book by Michael Beckwith, and he talked about, if you're going through, when you're going through a challenge, right? And if this, when is this challenge going to end? I don't know. It could be forever, right? The question was posed to me through Michael and my spirit mom is like, what do you need to develop within yourself to become stronger for this experience? And, I was driving down the road, and I'm in pain, and I'm sitting there thinking, how can I make this right? And I don't know how to make it right. And I remember this voice, I remember thinking, ask myself the question, I did, and then compassion. Oh yeah, compassion, I need to give them compassion, because see, I've got tools, they don't have tools, they grew up the same way I did, they don't have tools, so I have to be the bigger person here, and I have to give them compassion and be nice to them and let them, and everything will be okay, I'll be okay. So I love that, because of the fact that I said compassion, right? Journey, the universe says, okay, let's work with compassion then, right? So I remember, I was in the torment of what I was going through. I remember my spirit mom said, it's not what's happening to you, Rona, that is causing you the pain, it's what you're saying to yourself. And in this experience of a child who had been abandoned, that I was thinking, I'm not enough. Where did they go? They don't love me, right? And so I had to, and I was in and out, trying to surrender, right? Trying to surrender. And if you're somebody who has a little bit of, experience around the spirit world, you kind of develop some knowledge around it, right? And what I began to do as an enlightened person, that I said, well, you know what, I gotta surrender. And so I began to do things, I began to surrender like I surrendered to an experience of my past. I started doing actions the same way I did back here, right? And so a person who has knowledge and a person who's going through a crisis, right, can be so far behind they think they're first, right? And that's exactly where I was. And as I remember going to my spirit mom, she said, how you doing with that? And I said, well, I've done this, I've let go of this person, and I've done this and this and this. And she's like, no. She says, it's about just be still. Just be still. Don't, there's nothing you have to do here. And I couldn't, because I was so desperate to try to control. I'm an instant gratification girl. That's why alcohol worked for me. I want the pain to be gone now, right? So just give me the answer and I'll do it and we'll be done with it, right? But sometimes, I don't know who, I think it was Ayana or it was Oprah who said sometimes the process is the answer. Oh, God. Thanks, And I began to, but one of the things about having people in our lives that are guiding us and walking us through, those winter times, is I have a sponsor. I have my spirit mom. My spirit mom can see with her ears and hear with her eyes, as well as hear with her ears and see with her eyes. Right? She can see with her ears, right? And what that looks like is that I can sit there and I can tell her, right? Oh, I'm doing really good. But she can watch something in my body movement or twitch or something, right? And she knows, right? She knows that what I'm speaking is something different than what I'm actually being able to articulate to her. And somewhere along the line, she saw the moment. I don't even remember when it was, that moment of surrender. And she swooped me up and she said, Rona, what I want for you to do is I want you to do 25 gratitudes a day and 25 affirmations a day. And I'm thinking, what kind of time does this woman think I have on my hands? I mean, that's like 25, that's like a lot, you know? And so, but, you know, I was just at a space, you know, when sometimes, you know, you can be pushed by pain. I was just in a space where I wanted to come through this, right? And so I began to follow her direction. And she said, I want you to make a deal with God, with me, and with yourself, that for 30 days, you're gonna write out 25 affirmations and 25 gratitudes. 30 days, okay, I think I can do this, right? So I get out my notebook and my pen and, you know, I wake up in the morning time and I began to do my writing. The gratitudes kind of look like something like this. Well, I'm grateful for the sun. I'm grateful for my car. I'm grateful for my kids. I'm grateful that, you know, I'm grateful, you know, like just kind of started reaching out for grateful. Filled the list up real quick. When it came to affirmations, it took a little bit. I wrote, you know, I am, you know, okay, I am a kind person. Okay, that's a good one. I'm smart, I am a smart person, right? It took a long time. The affirmations were a little bit difficult for me. I can play a good flute, right? Okay, I'll write that. And, you know, and I remember what happened with the I am aspect, the affirmation part of my experience was that I began to listen to a compliment, right? I remember somebody said, Rona, you are beautiful inside and out. Oh, hey. I am beautiful inside and out, right? And I began to do that, and I was eventually, sometimes I had to, you know, repeat, double up on the affirmations to get to 25. But I figure, you know, hey, whatever, right? So I began to, and what happened is, you know, after 30 days, things began to shift. I started feeling like better, right? I started, okay. So I continued to do this work. I continued to keep on with the 25 and 25. Matter of fact, the woman I was working with, I said, hey, if I'm doing it, you got to do it. So you can do it too, right? So we had this little team of people doing the 25 and 25. And what I found is that, you know, as that shift was happening, that, you know, there was like a peace. Like I started feeling peace, and then it would go away, and then it would come back, and go away, and come back. And, you know, I kept on, you know, and I love this thing by Henry David Thoreau. He says, a single footstep will not make a path on earth. So a single thought will not make a pathway in the mind. To make a deep mental path, we must think over and over the kind of thoughts we wish to dominate our lives. And so I understood that process, what she was doing for me. And when I was writing that out, the repetition of, you know, listening to myself say, Rona, you know, you are beautiful inside and out. I am beautiful inside and out, right? And I watched as my relationship with the gratitudes and the affirmations began to change. Because in my gratitudes, I was just actually reading in my notebook here, I was just reading my list of gratitudes. I wrote that, you know, I am grateful to be alive. I am grateful for my eyes that can behold the ocean and the smiles of my grandsons, Logan, Malin, my granddaughters, Diane, Serenity, and Jocelyn. My relationship with the gratitudes began to shift. I'm grateful for my car because I love the fact that it gets me to and from. It's dependable. I am grateful. I went deeper with them. I began to spend time with them, right? And it was like, you know, life was going on. I could feel myself in a, you know, I was just living life now, right? Still, once in a while, I get a twinge or a pinch of pain, but, you know, it was not enough that kept me in the bondage of myself, you know? And as it was a year later, 4th of July came, another family reunion, not invited to, right? But I had things I was doing that day anyway, you know, and I was, finished up. I think Bruce and I were doing some things together, and then I went home that evening, and all the house was empty. My children, I had other things doing. Their folks had come into town. They went to go visit with them, and I was sitting on my deck by myself, and I was watching the fireworks across the water, and this little tap on my shoulder. You know, the family reunion was today. Yeah, I know. So how you doing with that? And I kind of sat there, and you have a book out there called The I Am of the Storm. And that's exactly how it was, right? I was sitting there in this calm, and I could see that storm around me, right? I could tap into misperception, competition, defensiveness, and separation. I could tap into any one of those and been sucked up in it. But I was in this calm. And I remember thinking, I'm doing all right. I'm doing all right. I love my brothers and sisters. There's nothing that they could ever do to make me stop loving them. And in that moment, the voice within said, I didn't have to make them wrong to be okay in that moment. And then this flood of information came through me in that moment, and I understood why my spirit mom had me doing that work. Because every single moment I woke up and I picked up my journal or my notebook, every time I picked up a pen, every time I went and sought for a thought of affirmations or gratitudes, every time I did that, every stroke of my pen, right, was compassion to myself. And it was a beautiful understanding that I had. You know, compassion, you know, being reintroduced to compassion, right? If you to be able to say from the moment I said, well, you know, I got to be the bigger person and be compassionate, right? Totally contradiction in terms, right? But sitting there in that moment and walking through the year and a half to get to that 4th of July again, and what I had experienced before in the middle and then at that moment was a true understanding that I had been doing for myself. And the voice said, yes, Rona, and that when you're compassionate with yourself, it is inevitable. You can't help it to be compassionate with other people. And I knew and I understood. And I love that story. I'm so glad I get to share that with you. You know, I had a experience. My father just moved back to Montana, and he left on Friday, and I was helping out with some things. So you know by this time, you know, what is happening today isn't necessarily going to be happening tomorrow, because I'm very active in my life. My boundaries are honored, and I honor theirs, right? And so we were all helping my dad move, and my dad was kind of in a stressful place, and I could see all my family still kind of behaving how we used to behave when we were little. And I couldn't. I was in a place, I could feel it inside of me, but I couldn't act on it, right? I was starting to get nervous inside my belly. It's like, oh gosh, Dad's getting upset. He's starting to do that sarcasm little twist he likes to do is getting in there, you know. And, you know, my sister, she's just like an eye roller, you know, and she's getting frustrated. And my brother, he just works harder. He just works harder, you know. And I'm watching all this unfolding, and then, you know, and it was just kind of like, you know, and I was feeling melancholy because my dad's moving back to Montana. You know, and I just wanted to say, I'm sad you're leaving. But then something would kind of distract me, and I had to go, oh, okay, never mind, over here. And I had to go pack up something, you know, or something with, you know, I start going there again, and all of a sudden they had to make hotel arrangements. I was like, okay, hold on, melancholy, hold on, I'll do it later, right? We got work to do. So we saw him off, and, you know, later that night, I ended up getting a phone call from my dad. And they had some struggles on the road, and my father was like in a place where he's like, you know, Rona, Nathan's upset with me, my brother Nathan, and he's like, your brother's upset with me. He just took off and left down the hall. He says, I don't even know why. I was being really nice, you know. And, you know, and I just, you know, it was interesting to me because when I just said, Dad, you know, I'll just see what I can find out, you know, and I'll call you back, keep your phone on. And so I, you know, contacted my brother, and I said, so is Dad giving you a hard time? And he told me that he had made a wrong turn, and my dad thought he did it on purpose. He was there in Spokane at this point, and so there's a lot, you know, he'd been packing, and he's tired, and kind of whatever my dad had said was a straw on the camel's back, and it just, you know, he was like, I'm out of here. I thought he did the right thing by walking away. And so I called my father up, and I was able to, you know, compassionately let him know, you know, Dad, Nathan has been working all morning. He's like, he woke up, he went and got the truck, he loaded it all by himself, most of it, you know, and he's really tired. And what you told him, it hurt him. And that energy, it didn't have to make my dad wrong. It just like just helping him through, because I know that they still had the rest of the journey to go, you know. And my dad, you know, it's just kind of interesting to see how where my father is today, from somebody who was a man of power within our community, and watching how life has made him vulnerable. I'm so glad he gets to move back. But that was just an experience of, you know, fortunately I was sitting down and I was meditating upon my talk today, so that when he called, I was just right there. Compassion was just right there for my brother and for my dad. So I wanted to end with one of the prayers that means a lot to me. I have a let me see if I can find it. There's this passage in one of my recovery books that it says that, what I have is a daily reprieve contingent on my spiritual condition. And, I come from a place that I have grooves in my brain of survival skills that no longer work as the woman that I am. But if I see a crisis beginning to happen, it can be my default mode. But I've been given a tool today that gives me the ability that I know how to take care of myself, whether I call my spirit mom, whether or not I get myself to a meeting, right? Prayer, meditation. There's a consistency that I have in my life in waking up in the morning and knowing that those survival skills can kick in any time and can create an even bigger problem than the problem was in the first place. And so one of the things I really love is the prayer of St. Francis. And I also love that, that I've learned that when he wrote this prayer, that he didn't write it coming from a place of, everything is great, that he was going through an actual crisis, right, conflicts in his life, that when he wrote this prayer that we use generations later. Lord, make me an instrument of your peace. Where there is hatred, let me sow love. Where there is injury, pardon. Where there is doubt, faith. Where there is despair, hope. Where there is darkness, light. And where there is sadness, joy. And when I first heard that, my very first experience to that prayer, I remember thinking, oh, so if I walk into the room and there's discord, I'm supposed to go, oh, here's peace, right? And that was really the best I could do. I really did think that, and I think the childlike mind, it's just but it wasn't wrong. It was better than what was going on before that, right? And so, so I learned that, and the second part of the learning was that when I can come and I can help another person through their journey, right? When I'm able to bring the hope of my talk to people. Right, that I can, if there's despair, that I can bring you hope, right? If there's darkness, that I can bring some light, and sharing with another woman in recovery, right? Bringing her up out of the dark into the light, but I'm able to do that, right? And then the third part of the third lesson that I learned, as I realized, as I was sharing earlier, is that yes, I come from a very difficult place in my life as a child, and those survival skills no longer work. One time, stealing used to work for me, it fed me, right, as a child. One time, lying used to work for me. It got me out of a lot of spankings as a child, right? And so, but as an adult, those things no longer worked. And so I realized that because I know that those things are very much accessible to me, that where it says, O divine master, grant that I may not so much seek to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understand, and to be loved as to love. And I realized that not only do I work with other people and help them, but that I know, right, as the woman that I am today, that I have a little girl who can go into survival mode, who just wants to go play, but she's kind of watching out for danger signs, right? And that because I know that the woman that I am, is that when I understand that I must wake up in the morning and I do my 25 and 25. I understand that if I am in some kind of crisis, that I need to call my spirit mom first, right, before I try to take care of it myself, right, and allow myself to be guided. I understand that I have a tribe of people that I can go through. I have ceremonies, I have meetings I can go to take care of myself. I don't no longer need you to turn your world around to make me okay, because I use these tools the way that I do. Okay? And it says here, for it is in giving that we receive, and it is in pardoning that we are pardoned, and it is in dying that we are born to eternal life. And that, I love that song, can beauty rise out of ashes? Yes, it can. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for that heartfelt message. Oh, wonderful. Thank you so much. We're going to have some time here of sharing an offering. So I invite you to take your gift in your hand, and the ushers will be passing among us soon to collect those offerings. And while they do, we can sing a cappella what's on the screen. So I invite you to participate in that. All right, we want to do a blessing on the offering, so our board member of the week and our chaplain are going to come forward, as well as our usher, and together as a congregation, we're going to bless the offering. The blessing is on the screen, so let's say this together. I give willingly, joyfully, and lovingly, knowing that God is the constant source of my supply. I give with graciousness and receive with gratitude. Thank you, God. Thank you. Okay. All right. So we do a little birthday recognition time. So is there anybody here today who has a birthday in the month of May? Yay! All right. And a couple of birthdays. And we'll have something special for you, I think, at fellowship time. But let's sing the birthday song to our birthday.
All right. There were several. There were everybody else. Stand up. Stand up. Those
Stand up, Marilyn.
I don't know.
Stand up.
She's
All right.
All right.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Marilyn. Happy birthday to you. God is blessing you now. God is blessing you now. God is blessing you wonderful. God is blessing you now.
Wonderful.
I'm so glad that my mom got pregnant when she did so I could be born in May. 'Cause it's I'm doubly appreciative of my mom.
I bet she was too. She didn't have to go through the summer.
Okay. We have an outreach ministry to the homeless, and it takes the form of collecting non-perishable items. These are little items that might go in a lunch bag that they could carry with them. So we have what we call the Food for Life bag. Is anybody willing to take the bag this week and fill it up with some non-perishable items and bring it back next Sunday? Thank you, Brenda. I'll have a bag for you. Okay, thank you, Brenda. All right. Did we have any children in Sunday school today? Not today. Okay. Well, then it's time for our peace song and our
Good news.
Oh, I'm sorry. Good news. Does anybody have good news to share?
It's all good.
The sun is out. We get to enjoy some nice warm spring weather. Yes.
My son went back to school and he's gotten all A's. And he got A's this quarter and he's got 2 more weeks to go. And I'm so proud of him. I knew he was smart.
Wonderful, wonderful
After
news.
his mother, huh?
Okay, all right. I just noticed you. Hi. Kelly's here. Okay, let's stand up and sing our prayer, our peace song, and then our prayer of protection.
I'm just gonna sit because it's one of those. There you go. That's okay. There you go.
Okay, we go with Christmas. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God as creator, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. The light of God surrounds us, the love of God enfolds us, the power of God protects us, and the presence of God watches over us. wherever we are.